Hi, it's Brian here, and welcome to The Crown, a Clash Royale podcast where each episode we pick a different aspect of the game and we talk to somebody who knows it well. Today, we'll be talking about the Clash Royale community and my favorite place for strategy, discussion, and so many memes. That place being the Clash Royale subreddit. We'll touch on their daily card discussions, the clan system, their Discord server, and their stats bot. We'll also get in some strategy with the deck spotlight from their chief moderator and today's guest, Diamondwolf.
I'm Diamondwolf. My real name is Spencer, but generally I've been Diamondwolf for the past 4 or 5 years when I first started Reddit. I think that was the first time I used the username.
Spencer says that he's just like any other forum moderator.
I'm just one of the huge nerds that comes by and removes poor content from the site, clean up spam, get in between people who are toxic to each other, write the rules, make the banners, other images, try to keep other mods in good spirits, try to keep the community in good spirits. I mean, I don't do it all personally, individually. We're all part of a big team.
And he's been a part of that team since day one.
I was there maybe day 2.
You can find him in the game. He's a member of one of the founding Reddit clans, Reddit Legends.
We just kind of hang out and have a good time, and we still manage to be one of the top 10, I'd say, Reddit clans. And you can all find us in the NIUE, N-I-U-E locale in the game. We all kind of use that, all the Reddit clans, we use that as a location so that we can all find each other on our own personal leaderboard. It ends up being pretty neat.
So about the Reddit community, what kind of role do you guys play within the larger community? Or how do you consider yourself, like what role do you consider yourself to play?
Well, the subreddit is kind of like the official, unofficial forum of the game. I mean, Supercell has its own forum, but it tries to keep a positive spin on things that doesn't really allow for free and open discourse. I mean, it doesn't make sense for them to. I mean, why should they host a huge thread of a thread or 1,000 threads that just indict the developer of whatever the shenanigans the community wants to throw around and at any given time? Reddit allows for pretty much any complaint that you want. I mean, of course, within reason, we don't allow spam and stuff. We try to keep away from that. But in doing and allowing pretty much anything from the get-go, as long as it's worth discussing, it allows for really dynamic discussion. You can throw in just some garbage alongside some really high quality discourse between either troops or what Supercell is doing this day. And being that Reddit itself is a huge site, I mean, I think it's like number 15 or something in the world of all of any site, not even just English. I mean, it has its own community and inside jokes, and that being the kind of home for a Reddit, for a Clash Royale community, it really just creates a really cool experience.
So who started the Clash Royale subreddit? Were you on the ground floor then?
Oh, the Clash Royale subreddit. I was there maybe day 2. There was somebody that just heard about Clash Royale right away. And the way Reddit works is if you want to create a subreddit, you just punch in a name and it's yours. Mm-hmm. So some guy that made it, we don't work with him any longer, but yeah, he just kind of made it, and he wasn't really around a whole lot as far as compared to how close-knit the community is and the moderators are now. It was a guy named Hyper with like 3 X's on each side of his name. It was one of those. Yeah. So he started the sub, and then he was just like, hey, I'm going to need some help. I'm like, oh, thank God, because I really started liking Clash Royale because they if you created an account, like say you lived in Canada or something, then you could play the day one of it was the beta release, closed release.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I really liked it, and I wanted to get involved as much as I did with Clash Clans. I wanted to get on the ground floor. So it was me, a guy named Sab, and a guy named Mungo Flago. They were both other moderators from Clash Clans. We ended up doing a lot of work and putting it a lot together. I would say Sab was the heavy design person, and there was a person named Killer Crew who came from Boom Beach. Nowadays he does a lot of the tournament stuff, and he's really not just instrumental, he's foundational to running the tournaments, and he has like a whole team, and it's pretty amazing. But we've all came together, and we've been working from the start with this guy named Hyper, who eventually went his own way. But yeah, we've been kind of working on this thing from day one. A lot of us have.
Cool. How big is your team now?
Oh, the team is huge. If I had to look at the exact number of moderators, we've got so many different teams now too. I want to say there's 39 people on the moderators list. And some of them are what we like to call full mods or sub mods. And they do everything. They can run teams. They can, ban people without asking anybody else. They remove posts, sticky posts, kind of just the day-to-day stuff. But then we've got a bunch of different teams. We've got like post mods who can only remove posts that are like reposts or things that blatantly break the rules. We've got flare mods who give out flare to people that have earned it for different reasons. We've got wiki mods who help curate and promote our wiki pages, which are pretty good. There's a good amount of strategy in there. There's who has what flares and stuff. We've got a daily discussions team who specifically make sure that the daily discussions get posted. I had to, actually a couple weeks ago, I would say last semester, I used to do a lot more post modding, but I realized that I was going to be low in activity. So a lot of these teams just came out of, hey, we're going to need another person here. Why not get like 5 or 6 more people for this specific task? And I think it worked out pretty well because a lot of people feel more involved, and we get a lot more high quality opinions that we can utilize from people that actually know what's going on. So it's been great. The whole growth has been phenomenal this whole time.
So you guys work directly with Supercell for some things?
Sometimes. Yeah, we're in a chat room with Supercell, and thankfully they're able to let us know when some things are happening, such as these card events, so that we can plan our daily discussions. But for other things like tournaments, we run sometimes these big tournaments as big as that we can muster, as big as many people that are able to that want to join. And being able to coordinate with Supercell has been able to let us give out winners of those tournaments, just gems, just directly to their account.
Oh, cool.
And we also get like some cool in-game announcements where we can get even more people involved, or we can just make it a bigger deal than what we could have on our own, which is pretty amazing. Yeah, Supercell has been really great to work with. I'd say with the mods that are most involved would be Killer Crew and Balance generally for the tournaments. But if you're looking for a tournament winning mod, I think you'd be looking for Xavier. He's our resident champion. He gives us all the scoops on the top tier clans and things.
Now, you guys put a lot of effort into deciding what posts provide value for the community and are going to keep people coming back to the discussion. What are you looking for?
The posts that add the most value are the posts that we've eventually found ways to reward people for. We get a lot of requests for more strategy posts, like posts that you can, hey, what do I do with this card? Well, here's every single situation ever. Here's what you can do with that card. And those posts end up blowing up. They'd be pretty great. They end up being pretty solid additions to the community. But I think that memes, although nobody will say, well, okay, maybe not nobody, but not a lot of people will straight up say that they like memes. I think memes are pretty, like those short kind of quick consumption things. I think those are pretty important because they get people in the subreddit and they get people looking around, and the people that are just don't necessarily only need strategy. They provide a pretty good kind of separation from the grind of regular posts and the regular strategy and the regular just playing. And, I just lost a bunch of trophies, but, I've got a pretty funny joke to look at, which is awesome, which is why I come to Reddit quite a bit. Like, I don't always want to read about the 3,000th thing to do with the Dark Goblin, but I don't always want to see that Evars and Royal Giant are cancer or Sparky is trash. Of those posts, we remove, I want to say dozens a day of just those two subjects of either Royal Giant or Evars being cancer or Sparky being trash. So many of those posts we remove every day. But the posts that we get, the posts that we really appreciate are the strategy posts. We've seen some strategy pictures, which are pretty good. Like, hey, place the Inferno Tower here. It seems pretty basic, but it ends up being a really nice resource for especially people that either don't think about it a whole lot or people that just haven't come up with, Inferno Tower is pretty early on in the game, but heal spell, I'm really looking forward to some good strategy on the heal spell because that's not only new, but it's far ahead in the arenas.
Now, Reddit rewards people that add value to a sub with something called karma. And karma is the sum of your upvotes and downvotes on your contributions to the forum. It kind of proves that you have some clout. Now, the funny thing is, though, the karma you might get from a post isn't really always reflective of the amount of effort that you put in or the amount of value you're actually contributing to the community. That's something the moderators try to take into consideration when they're shaping the sub.
Karma's great. Karma lets the more people that basically hit the up like button on your post, and the more people that get to see it. However, our big fight is that when something is easily consumed, when something only takes 3 seconds to read, it's easy to hit the upload button on it. But if something takes a lot of time to put in, like something like really valuable to the community, something that you might want to even save and look at later, you're going to be less likely to hit the upload button on it just because it's taking up so much of your time and you just might not think about it. You're not done with it, so to speak. So it's really difficult to want to remove something that says, oh, we've got so many upvotes. Why are you removing it? There's so much value. It's like, well, it's really not. It's a repost, or it's just like basically drawing in these undeserved upvotes, which are fine in any other subreddit, let's say like dank memes or something, where things are meant to be consumed within just 5 seconds or so. But some things on the Clash Royale subreddit, it's really upsetting that they're not getting the upvotes that they deserve, even though the comments may be extremely positive, just because there's not that direct kind of, I'm finished, I laughed, upvote. It's with a good quality post that might, stimulate stimulate your mind, stimulate how you play, kind of change how you place troops down. It's not a direct kind of, hey, I'm going to upvote this immediately. So we have to make sure that the posts that are visible aren't just a bunch of easily consumed garbage, which, don't get me wrong, I sometimes love the easily consumed garbage. I mean, sometimes it's my favorite part of the site. Sometimes I don't really want to see a bunch of strategy. But we've got over 100,000 people to the subreddit, and some people do. So we try to appease everybody, but we know we can't. We try to appease most people, but we know we can't appease everybody. We've actually recently moved from no low quality humor to, if it's based on Royal Giant, Elite Barbs, or Sparky, we've upgraded it to a no medium quality humor. So even if it is kind of funny, it's gone, because there are enough posts where there's going to be genuinely funny things with new perceptions, new point of views, that only those would really kind of make through of those specific topics.
Now, a really popular series of posts that you do is the Daily Card Spotlight. Can you tell me about building that and what usually happens in that post?
I love the daily discussions. The daily discussion is probably, if I were to check anything, that's what I would check throughout the day. It started as kind of just a bot posting it just every day, but it's been developing into something that needs to be manually posted because, well, Supercell keeps releasing these new cards, which is great for gameplay and the community, but horrible for trying to start a regimented program. But we've evolved into, instead of either one person or a bot posting, now we've got about 5-6 different people just making sure that those posts get posted and that it's always something interesting or new. I think today is Night. Night's been coming back in the meta fairly strongly. I'm actually tired of seeing Night, to be honest. But the comments that we get are super valuable. We used to have a guy named Turtwig Data. He made a good name for himself, just being awesome and dishing out cool info and, how to play the different cards and things. I haven't seen him in a while, but there's always somebody, like another person I can think of named Edie Howe. He's very descriptive, which is great. And it seems that there's always either something or someone new to look forward to in those daily discussions. And occasionally I just like to, if the daily discussion has a card from one of my decks, I'll just dump what my deck is in there. And if people want to ask questions or if they want to use it, well, they can, until I also leave in the levels, and then they make fun of me for having a max level Musketeer and at only 4,000 cups, which 4,000 cups is great, but then max level Musketeer, what are you doing at 4,000 cups? So kind of depending on what you're putting into the daily discussion, you can, and other people always check out it too. So you're going to get a response if you either punch in early enough or if you have something interesting enough. It's great back and forth. It's a nice little community collection point every day.
mentioned it before on the show, there's something called the Reddit clan system. And if you're looking for a healthy, well-established clan family, there's lots to choose from there.
Well, the Reddit clan system was started right at the beginning of the game, of course. We tried to not be like the Clash of Clans Reddit clan system, which is great and fine, but it just had its problems that we wanted to learn from, which ended up being fairly successful. Like, we didn't have this huge application process at the beginning. It was just, hey, you've got Reddit in your name? Sweet, come on and join us. Join our Discord server, chat with us, and then you're part of the Reddit clan system. And that was kind of end-all way to join the system. But nowadays we have an application, we interview the leaders, and now we only want cool and active, informed leaders who are effective and they do good things and provide a good name for the community. But the RCS in itself is a great collection of, I would say, maybe 80 or so clans that all get together. We've got the Alpha Clan family who do a lot of pushing. They're our premier pushing family within the family, headed by Woody of Reddit Alpha. He's got his own stream and he does a lot of tournaments, and he's fairly involved within the whole Clash Royale community. Fairly big deal, I would say. But otherwise, besides just that pushing specific family, we've also got a bunch of different clans that just like to hang out. They don't necessarily need to push, but they just like having a good time. Together, we host occasional tournaments with each other. And because we have so many people, we're able to host not just those regular custom tournaments that you get in game with the gems, but we also host bracket tournaments every now and then. And those end up being a ton of fun. They take quite a while. They take weeks. Like, hey, this weekend we might get half of it done, and next weekend we might finish it, just because there's so much coordination between different people. But yeah, it's really great to get a huge 100 some odd people in a bracket tournament that you don't have to qualify for other than just being in the RCS.
If you want to join a clan and get in on those tournaments, head over to the sub and check the sidebar for a link that says list of Reddit clans.
You go there and then you'll find all of the Reddit clans that have officially registered, and you can either pick one there or you can join our Discord chat, which is linked on that page, and then you can chat with either the leader or co-leaders or people from that clan that you're interested in, or you can talk about clans that you're interested in. And you can find out specifically about whatever clan fits you best. We prefer Redditors, but they're open for everybody.
So there's a Discord server for the clan system. There's also a main server for the subreddit itself. It's got several rooms, including an art gallery and a news section. And probably the most popular feature, it's StatsBot.
It was created by one of our newer mods named Harmiox and another gentleman named Triso. But what the StatsBot is, it pulls the API from the game, which, I don't even know what API stands for, but apparently it's good information. And what you can get from there is what chests are coming up. You can get a small little picture of your profile so that you can show to other people, and you can pull up even a small little picture of what your deck looks like. And the bot has a neat little feature where it can remember who you are, so you don't have to type in your entire user ID every time. You can just say, hey, StatsBot, you can punch in, it's like hashtag stats, and then it'll give you your profile, such as your level, your gold, or how many experience points you have, and all that cool stuff. I would say the most popular use of it is definitely the chests. People love seeing what chests are coming up. And you can see the next 6 chests, and you can see how far away your magical, your epic, and your super magical chests are, which is phenomenal. So you can either ruin the surprise, be like, hey, I know I'm getting a super magical, or you can say, oh, good, I've got 6 more chests until I get a super magical, or 600 chests, so I won't bother looking forward to it this month. But yeah, a bunch of cool different ways you can look at it as far as knowing what chests are coming up.
That is definitely one of my favorite features, because I would just rather know. That way I don't have to be disappointed. I just know, okay, whatever, in 60 chests that super magical is coming. And I don't have to worry about it now.
Or if you're trying to go to sleep and then you've got so many open chests and you're wondering, well, if I don't get a golden chest, what's the point? Because I'm not going to bother working for more chests if I can just open up a silver now. Like right now, my slots are full, and I've got a silver coming up next, so I'm not even going to bother playing. Well, you know what? I probably will. It's not quite my bedtime yet, but if I needed to go to sleep right now, I wouldn't even bother. Because I know it's so nice to know what's coming up next.
I think a lot of people can relate to that. I know I certainly can. I'm like, oh, if I just got to get a golden chest because I don't want to waste, I mean, what would it be, 5 hours while I'm sleeping that nothing's opening?
At least. Yeah. And that's if you check it right when you wake up.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I may be guilty of every day.
It is the first thing I do every morning.
You don't want to waste time. You don't want to waste your chest time. It's valuable. That's valuable stuff.
Yeah, I mean, other than...
You got a super magical chest coming up in 400 chests. You don't want to waste that stuff.
Exactly. That's money. Like, other people could spend money on the game, but what I do is just make sure I'm as efficient as I can with what the game paces out to me.
Yeah, you could either get your chest in 3 weeks, or you could get it in 2 weeks and 4 days. A lot more once you plan out your efficiency.
Exactly. It's tough, man. It's tough when you're at work, though. You've had a long day and you've run down and you're like, you just can't get away. You have to run and get some battles in so that you're not wasting that time without a chest.
Those open chest slots.
I hate when you go do that and you lose and lose and lose. You're like, I have 15 minutes at work. I'm going to sneak away to do this. And I can't. I just can't win.
That's why I have, I don't want to say pity, but why I feel for droppers. Because maybe they just got tired of losing when they're kind of busy and they just want to play the game and win when they can. I kind of find a home at about 4,300 cups, but I will definitely find myself dropping on purpose to about 4,000 to 3,900 just so that when I wake up or when I'm busy, I can just get in a game and win right away.
Yeah, that's not bad, but that's not as
evil.
Bad. People take it way further than that, though, because I will fluctuate 300 cups easily.
Oh, of course.
Let's back to the bot. Something I mentioned. I remember when I saw the first post about it, and I said, this is really cool, but what I really like is the graphs that Starfire can give you, and I think it was maybe one of the
Starfire's graph.
Do you know if they have any plans to do anything like that, like graphing your progress over time? I think one of the guys who came on and replied said, we've got a bunch of new plans that we're going to do with the stat bot in the future.
Oh, you'd have to talk to him directly. Harmiox, our resident bot overlord. The only thing that I can imagine in the future for our bots is probably a bunch of errors. Just failure and errors just because so many people are interested in it. Which is great. I mean, I like using it. I really like that everybody else is having a good time using it, but I have no idea what's going on in the future. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I love that it is responsive and sharp. Starfire is always behind for me, and for days it will sometimes say the same thing, and my chest cycle doesn't seem to budge.
Yeah, it's like, hey, you use this deck, what do you think about it? It's like, well, I used that deck about 3 days ago, so I guess I'll wait for you to update. But yeah, our bot's pretty awesome. It tells you immediately. Like you just opened up a new chest, well then it'll tell you what's coming up next. But as far as the graph goes, I think that's where Starfire has its beat. Mm-hmm. I'm not quite sure if we're planning on having a graph, but I know that our bot overlord is rather excited about a graph.
Oh yeah.
And I still have Starfire on my phone just so I can look at the graph because I like seeing my progress. I think that's pretty neat. I like to post pictures of it and kind of rub it around. It's like, hey, look at me. But as far as us getting a graph on the Discord, I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it's not something that is coming, I would say, tomorrow.
I like it because especially when I take a long dive, at least I can look back and say, you know what, I was up pretty high for about a month, so I still feel okay.
You can post it we post it in our clan chats, and so if we're having a particularly bad run, it's not just, hey, I'm having a really bad day, look at this chart. It shows you statistically how bad my day is exactly by the numbers.
Yeah, that's at least we can all relate.
Yeah.
So if you bump into Triso or Harmiox, make sure you say what's up and thanks for the stats bot. Now, the sub itself recently hit a pretty big benchmark, and that is that they surpassed 100,000 subscribers. To celebrate, they threw a tournament, and I did not make it through round one.
Oh, the 100,000K tournament was great. We started off from 0 members when we started the subreddit and the game about late December, like right around the new year of 2016. So being able to hit the 100,000 and become one of the top, well, actually this number isn't so enthralling. I think we're about like number 600 something of the top subreddits, but considering that we're one of the most active subreddits considering how many members we have. Hitting 100,000 was a really nice benchmark. It was a nice clean number. So the tournament, what we have for the tournament was a bunch of marshals in order to kind of assist and make sure that we've had the information disseminated, that everybody was that everybody was headed to the right tournament itself. And what we really tried to make sure was that everybody had a password to get into the tournament, and that only people getting in the tournament that were supposed to be in there were getting in there. And that was a big issue, actually, where I really wanted to only reward the people that signed up for the tournament, because it was nothing to sign up. It was just, be a Redditor or be on the Discord. And then, all of the signing up was just so easy to do. And we didn't want people that weren't signed up, because then we wouldn't be able to carry those people into the bracket.
Right.
You notice with the Crown Championship Global Series, they've had the biggest issue with, I won top 20, I can't get into the bracket, because they had some issue of their own, which I might have been able to foresee if I had bothered to think about it. But getting people from the tournament to the bracket requires people registering somewhere and being able to find that person. So being able to not kick people out of the tournament was really rough, because you would have people who would not register but finish in the number one spot all the way through, anywhere that you would look, because people would finish it would be rather random how it would lay out. It didn't turn out to be the biggest issue in the world that we couldn't kick people out of tournaments, but it was a mild inconvenience. However, I think it turned out really good, because even though because we had a large percentage of people that registered who did get those top spots and who did make it to the bracket, and the bracket ended up being really good. We created a small room in Discord. They chatted, and we ended up keeping it open for a couple of weeks after the tournament, so they could have like an after party, so to speak.
Yeah.
And that was pretty fun. I tried not to interfere, because I wasn't a finisher, so I try to let them have natural conversations by themselves, and that it just interject my non-coolness, my non-tournament winningness.
Yeah.
But they did have some pretty neat chats in there. We also have a separate room for like people with high trophies. I don't like to really interject in there either, because I think we set it to 4,900 and up, and I'm at like 4,500. But the tournament winning chat room ended up being pretty neat, because it not only let us plan for the whole bracket to be aired and streamed at a specific time, but it ended up being a pretty cool like back room for those members who were rather fantastic at those tournaments.
So you got to, I think it must have attracted a lot more attention, because I think the subreddit is almost at 115,000 now.
Yeah, we're really marching forward. We never really slowed down from then. If anything now, Supercell has released the builders hut, the builder town hall in Clash of Clans. So there's a lot of lateral interest that's been seeping over to our subreddit, especially with people wanting to introduce those troops and those towers over to Clash Royale, because now Clash of Clans has been getting all the attention, which is great, but it still seeps into Clash Royale and even the subreddit getting attention, which is great for us too. So although a lot of people I've been seeing a lot of upsetness for the Night Witch and how long it's been taking to get released, and the bats, and it's like, hey, it's been a month or so. But now we've got the Clash of Clans release, and it's kind of placating everyone with all of these new ideas and everything it's been inspiring, including art and gameplay, troops. And I think that even though the Night Witch and the bats are being pushed along, I think we're still getting a lot of very positive conversations.
I think bats are so tied to Night Witch, they've got to be ready if Night Witch is, so hopefully we won't have to wait that long after her. And then, I mean, it's all one universe, so anything they create there's a pretty good chance we might be seeing it pop over into Clash Royale.
Yeah, I think what I'm seeing right now is a lot of the people want to replace Sparky with that rolling cannon, the
cart cannon?
Yeah, the cannon cart.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, people, and they want Giants to attack it, and it would be some really unique gameplay opportunities. And I think it's super fun to read. It's super fun to get into that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always nice to see forward progress in either both the subreddit, which we would have to push forward ourselves. But this is kind of nice, some passive progress that we don't even, as subreddit mod team, we don't have to, update the game and stuff. That's kind of all on Supercell, and it's great to just see that influx of activity and stuff on the subreddit based on all that new stuff. That's not even technically Clash Royale specific.
Right.
So yeah, we get boosts from all over the places, from the strangest necks of the woods.
So I was just looking at the subreddit today. I see you guys put out a new update. You talk about you've got the Twitter going strong now.
Yep. Yeah. The Twitter's we've been reviving that for this set for a couple weeks, but we're trying to give it sort of a foundation before we pump it out into an announced post, which we did a couple days ago. So hopefully it's got some things to look through for people can look through its history and see that, we've been working on it for a while and whether or not it's worth following, which is good. It's always nice to not be introduced to something new and just, hey, follow this. We're completely new. So yeah, we've been working on it for a while. We're pretty excited about it. It's mostly just things that have climbed up pretty high in the subreddit, but otherwise there are some unique things that are from the Discord that would otherwise be hard to catch.
Oh, let's see, what else did you announce here? You announced that you've taken on some new staff.
1998 CR, Harmiox, and Carolyn, they've all been fairly instrumental. I really appreciated 1998's artwork. He's made a lot of banners for us. He's a really not just art-centric person, but he's been able to help us with the style sheet and make a lot of flares. Like he made my flare, which is this sweet musketeer GIF.
Oh, yeah.
Which he had to work some back-end magic in order to actually make that a GIF, because it's not technically a GIF. It's more just a slideshow. It's like a really fast slideshow. It's slightly different than a GIF, although it looks the same. Harmiox has been our bot guy. He's been instrumental in not only installing the bots, but maintaining the bots. He's been bringing up the old bots and making sure that everything runs smoothly there, along with working with a guy named Triso with getting those stats bots and stuff. He's also a fairly good Discord moderator in itself. He makes some really good subjective decisions on both forward progress in the Discord and, of course, the average moderator stuff like banning people and making sure people behave. Carolyn has been an excellent Discord moderator. She's super good with people. She's talked her way into everyone's hearts, and I'm not just saying the moderator team, but I'm pretty she is super popular with the people that are just with everyday community members too.
Yeah, she's been really she was who I first talked to when I reached out to the mods. She replied, and she was super energetic and easy to talk to. Yeah,
I love how much energy she has. She runs a stream, which I really enjoy. It was higher quality than when I tried to make a stream. There was a moment when I tried to make one, and it was okay, but if I would say that I was not as good as average, so I scrapped that project. But it's nice to see that Carolyn stream is really well. It's really well put together. She's got a lot of things going on. I enjoyed watching her.
Now, we haven't actually talked any strategy at all in this episode, so before I let Spencer go, he's going to run us through his current favorite deck. What is can you tell us about what your favorite deck is right now, so we could try it out? You're a Prince guy, so.
Oh yes, my current deck is Prince, Musketeer. My Musketeer is maxed. You really gotta overlevel that Musketeer, because in my deck she's the only way to kill Lava Hounds, and air is my biggest weakness. So if you can overlevel your Musketeer, that's going to pay off in dividends.
Yeah.
However, when Lava Hounds can't be overleveled, such as in tournaments, then a level 7 Musketeer is just fine.
I see. Yeah.
But as far as the rest of the deck, Prince, Musketeer, Mini P.E.K.K.A., Skarmy, and then I have Log, Zap, Fire Spirits, and Rocket.
The triple spells, and you've got Zap and Log. Does that have anything to do with the spell bait meta?
Oh, the spell bait's been horrible for me. Goblin Gang has been great for everyone that's been using it against me. So I've been really getting some use out of the Log. But then, of course, they've got some Skarmy or something because Log bait's been super popular. Hog Log bait. So every time I use my Hog, they've got either Princess or a Skarmy ready to go.
Yep.
But that's where the Zap has been really helpful.
Yep.
And, of course, if they're not running a Zap or a Log bait, well, then it's either Lava Hound or Hog. And Lava Hound plus a high-level Zap can really high level zap can really end a hound, which is pretty incredible. Like a level 12 zap will kill all the pups of a level 2 lava hound, I believe, which can end that whole push.
Yeah, totally. That's crazy value for 2 elixir.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely belongs in in its popularity position and how high it is. Especially, you need some electricity to deal with either the Inferno Tower or the Sparky.
Oh yeah, that's a good way to put it. Either the zap to reset it, or you're gonna need a lightning to completely take it out. Or I guess an Electro Wizard is a good counter as well.
No, the Electro Wizard, I hate going up Electro Wizard, up against Electro Wizard, because it seems to slow everything down a lot more than the Ice Wizard ever could. It's just a pain.
As a Hog player, he's a pain for me.
I got to drop a Skarmy right on top of him.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's true. Once he's down, he can take a Skarmy out easily, but a Skarmy will also take him out easily once he's placed.
Yeah, positive elixir trade.
Can you run us down to how to play this deck if somebody wants to try it out? I think I'll give it a shot.
Sure. Well, you have to try to find out what the enemy is playing. If they're playing Hogs, of course, you should always plan to have a mini P.E.K.K.A. defend the tower.
Yeah.
If they're playing a Giant, you'll find out because you'll have a Prince running forward, and they will stop your Prince with their Giant. So you just try to play the other lane.
Oh, yeah.
If they're playing Lava Hound, always try to have your Musketeer ready, of course. But a big thing of this deck is that it can defend really well. However, you also need to be able to be ready to push the other side.
Yeah.
So let's say you can start with, preferably, you'll start with the mini P.E.K.K.A. in the back, your tank killer. You can sacrifice him to whatever they want to kill your tank killer with. And then if depending on the size of their push, you can either counter their attacks or just fly up the other lane with the Prince. Oftentimes when the enemy plays a Lava Hound, I'll just I'll drop a mini P.E.K.K.A. and a Skarmy, which I believe Supercell featured as the mini attack pack or something. The Tiny Tots. The mini P.E.K.K.A. and the Skarmy together were kind of a joke when they made the video about it. But honestly, it's a really great counter to a heavy opposing lane beatdown, like a Golem or a Lava Hound. It's a mild sacrifice. Let's say you're paying 7 elixir for. They also played 7 or 8 elixir, depending on if they played a Lava Hound or a Golem. But you're going to need to rush that other lane. You need to take advantage of their lower elixir.
Yeah.
And as far as countering a lot of things, a lot of the counter actions are fairly self-explanatory. But generally, if they don't have a big tank, such as Golem or Lava Hound, go ahead and fight the same lane that they're pushing off of. But if they do have a big tank, then just try the other lane, rush it, do what you can. Otherwise, just take the L if they manage to completely counter your push. Because a lot of the things are fairly counterable, such as the one hitters like the mini P.E.K.K.A. and the Prince. But other things like Tombstone can be taken care of with the log and zap. I often zap log a Tombstone just so that my Prince and mini P.E.K.K.A. can get through. Sending Fire Spirits with basically any troop can really save it from either skeletons or goblins or things that would otherwise distract the Prince or mini P.E.K.K.A. If they have Skarmy, just try to. I would not recommend really pre-logging a Skarmy opponent just because they can put the Skarmy in somewhere completely different. But if you know their cycle, well then go ahead and pre-log. But otherwise, the general gist is to try to. Either you should be able to push through their lane unless they have a giant tank. Therefore, just use the other lane.
I see. Excellent. How long have you been playing that deck for?
A couple months. I've been upgrading. I've been playing a version of it, I'd say, since October. The mini P.E.K.K.A. used to be goblins because goblins were great against Hog. But I got so furious because everybody wanted to follow up their Hog with a log, and it would just leave me defenseless against and just staring at this Hog just beating on my tower.
Yeah.
So I replaced them with mini P.E.K.K.A. and it's been great against Royal Giants and Elite Barbarians, depending on what's supporting them, either Fire Spirits, Skarmy, or Musketeer.
I see. People have been crazy about that Hog Log. Like sometimes before I've even shown somebody what I have in my hand, their first play will be a Hog Log. It's like, you don't know what I have.
Yeah, and it works too.
I guess they do it because it probably works. I guess a good share of the time it's successful for them.
It caused me to change a pivotal part of my deck. I was ready to upgrade goblins to 12, but with all the Hog Logs, I ended up putting in a really an under-leveled mini P.E.K.K.A. into my deck, which was 7 at the same time that my Musketeer was 10.
Yeah.
But since then, I've got him up to 9. So yeah, he's able to take care of hogs on his own now. He leaves a little sliver of health sometimes, so sometimes I'll back it up with a Fire Spirit, just so that hog doesn't get that single hit.
Yep.
But it's so satisfying to deny that hog that single hit
without having to use a building.
Yeah.
And
because I have no buildings.
Oh yeah, that's you. Yeah, so you'd better be able to handle a hog easily.
Yeah.
That is, and I think that is a great way to go, because then you line yourself up for a counter push and possibly a pretty good elixir trade.
Yeah, there's always troops going forward unless it's a spell. Like, it's 3 spells, but there's no buildings. So things like hogs and royal giants, I really have to get on top of them. But with mini P.E.K.K.A., Prince, and Musketeer, and even Skarmy, I've got great responses for them. So I don't really need a building. I think buildings and hogs are something that my hog is actually still level 6. Buildings are super low leveled as well. I was never really a fan of that type of play style.
Yeah. What's the hardest deck that you have to play against, given this deck?
Oh, Lava Hounds.
Oh yeah, I guess your lack of air defense.
Air decks they really jack me up. But if we didn't specifically against air defense, I would say giants are actually fairly difficult. A well-placed giant or even Ice Golem. If you want to distract my Prince or mini P.E.K.K.A., you kind of got me you could push a stalemate just by defending my large one-hitters.
You have a lot of glass cannons in your deck.
Yeah, they're strong, but if they can't make it to the tower, well, they don't do anything. A lot of times I'll have to buckle down and just go on defense the whole time and just rocket the opponent's tower.
Oh yeah.
Which is what I do against mortar users. Oh, I used to hate mortar users, but then because I don't have a building, so they are always targeting my tower. So, but my thing is, I place down the Prince whenever the mortar is ready to fire, or the Expo.
Mm-hmm.
I place down even a mini P.E.K.K.A. or the Musketeer, as long as it's something away from my tower, and just keep on defending until I hit max elixir, and then I just keep on rocketing one of their towers. And that surprisingly wins me most of my battles against mortars, because if you have a mortar and you're up against another mortar user, it boils down to whoever can rocket the other person's tower the most. So I just use that thought process, and I end up taking the win against mortar users that just aren't prepared against a bunch of rockets against their tower.
Oh, interesting. Okay, well, I'm excited to try your deck out. I'll give it a shot tonight.
Awesome. Yeah, good luck.
Cool. Well, we're going to keep looking up, see what's going on with Reddit. Thanks so much for talking to us. Yeah, I'm super excited.
Awesome, yeah. Thanks for having me, man.
Thanks to Diamondwolf and to all the moderators on the sub that helped to hold it down. We've got links to all the pages that we talked about today. It's on our website, crownpodcast.com. You can also find us on Twitter, Crown Podcast. Email your comments and feedback to the king at crownpodcast.com. And if you're enjoying the show, please subscribe and leave a review in the podcast app of your choice. Music in today's episode was once again provided by Oddling. We've got a link to that song in the show notes, also on our website. Thanks to him, and thanks for tuning in. Until next time, this has been The Crown, a Clash Royale podcast.